Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Alienware Arena North America Week 1 matches. Tonight we do have the Fatal Kings versus We Run This-ish. Yep, that's their name, This-ish. I think it's like maybe Scottish or something, I'm not too sure. FourCourtJester here on the stream, and what's becoming more and more of a theme, I do have Mr. Bird here from Definitive Esports. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing awesome. Maybe it's a little bit British-ish because, you know, they have the ish at the end, or it's a little colloquialism in America. But it is going to be happening with Fatal Kings and We Run This-ish, and hopefully you're doing well as well. I mean, I'm guessing you checked out some IPL stuff and all that goodness?
Yeah, who couldn't? I mean, just so many games going. Although, more often than not, it was just more ads and, like, directed camera games than anything. But, you know, c'est la vie. It's a big event. I hope they know what they're doing. And that means that, you know, gotta take a break from that and do this, because the Alienware Arena waits for no one. Here on your blue team, we do have Fatal Kings, and here on the red, or the purple, I suppose, is We Run This-ish. I'm just gonna call them We Run. That's what I put in the scoreboard, so we run the purple team. Makes sense to me, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could kind of mistake that for World Elite right now, and they have like this second team called Run or something. But you know what? We Run This-ish is going to be a really formidable team if they can play like World Elite right now.
I think I know what I forgot to add to this scene. Yeah, and there's actually been some really big upsets I've noticed.
Yeah. I mean, that Group A, yeah, that bracket, very, very strong, but I won't say anything else about that. We are going bans of picks right now. Alistair, Blitzcrank being banned out. Really safe bans, very, very normal stuff, so nothing too worried about. But technically, Alistair really has fallen off on competitive play. Like, no one's really playing him anymore.
Yeah,
because
you know, you're totally right. Like, he's kind of has fallen off, but I think that part of that reason is just he just got banned so freaking much. At some point, I think he had something like an 80-something% pan rate on the ladders and in tournaments. It's just that, yeah, so people eventually just stopped playing him because they knew that he was just going to get banned out anyways, and then the game just kind of evolved, and now all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, that's right, Alistair's on there. Oh, whatever, he's so last season.
I think also on top of that, the W nerf to headbutt, I think that was like maybe 4 patches ago, I would like to say, really hurt and hindered his kind of playability, because that range buff or range nerf onto his W kind of was like the whole thing about Alistair. You had that level 2 gank from like the side of the race, and you go right into the middle, and you get like an easy kill with that headbutt on top of that pulverize. But now you can't really do that as much, so you can't really you're kind of like a one-trick pony. If you don't get that off on the first like 1 or 2 levels, you're not going to be able to really secure your jungle, and per se even in support lanes as well. So kind of why Alistair has been kind of falling off, but Alistair's a pretty strong support still, but not a lot of play coming out. Nunu, Hecarim, Taric being banned out. Feeling like the Nunu ban might be a kind of a pick that they're choosing to go counter against whatever they're going to be making. Hecarim and Taric, though, those are really interesting picks as well. Taric's a more standard ban and Nunu's more standard ban, but Hecarim definitely is a targeted ban.
Trying to figure out who actually plays Taric. Who's the support player here on Fatal Kings? And yeah, 21 games played, 76 win percentage. Taric on Tony Lie Doesn't Lie. So yeah, very targeted right there. And again, you know, we saw this in the EU as well. We saw very targeted bans coming out from some of the teams, and even though we only have access really to like the Season 3 kind of stuff, you know, if you see somebody with a high win percentage, it's just something you don't want to deal with. So I can understand the banning, but because of this, I mean, look at that. I mean, a lot of the typical bans aren't there, you know. Jungle is pretty much all up for grabs except for that Malphite. We have Lee Sin still in the pool. Rengar top. We just saw Rengar do some amazing work in IPL 5. If you guys weren't watching, he is still a very viable pick. Jace got through these as well, and you know, but it's still like, it's just like we saw this morning. People know what they want to play here in this postseason too, and it doesn't necessarily mean the top of the top.
No, it's definitely, you know, whatever the comp is really comparable for. And right now we do have that Sona pick that's really usable, but it's going to be paired up with a Nocturne into the groups for Fatal Kings. While we do have a Shen and a Mumu kind of pick out for rerun this ish, I can see that really being a really dirty combo where Mumu uses Krista's Sab Mummy, and then Shen comes in with Dan United into a taunt with Shadow Dash. And that's just going to be a lot of disable and a lot of damage coming into the team of Fatal King. So that's pretty good to have that Sona to disengage. They're probably going to need one more disengager just in case something happens to them.
Now, I'm curious, like last time we saw a Nocturne, you know, he combos very well with a very gank-oriented kind of lineup, like a Twisted Fate. And I don't see a Twisted Fate quite on the board. I don't see him in the bans. Very interested to see if we're going to see something like that. But, you know, other than that, yeah, Fiddle getting in there. Ooh. Do you know what's a really, really good support? Fiddle. Do you know why? Because I've never lost with him.
It's because of the fear. The Q is just too strong, and mostly over that bot lane, you don't build up to Mercury Treads, so you're going to have a 5-second duration of fear status, and no matter what, you're probably going to be stunned down for that long. And then on top of that, you get that the E ability. I don't remember it totally. The bouncing crows. It just does. Dark Wind, there you go. Does so much with that silence, but on top of that, it's one of the best abilities, like level 1 and 2, or rank 1, rank 2, that does so much damage as well, just with all the bounces. So, really, really strong pick. If it is going to be a Fiddle, wow. It's going to be a Fiddle middle. That's going to be crazy.
You sure? I don't know. Could be Fiddle support with a Soraka.
Soraka
AP.
middle.
Yeah. Now, here's something also, you know, a little bit of food for thought. Malzahar making a triumphant return. That is a Malzahar mid. That is a suppress mid. So much for the whole Twisted Fate kind of idea. And now, you know, we do have that Nocturne for that, you know, really big ganking control, but at the same time, We Run This Ish also has that Shen, you know, one of the best split pushing champions of the game.
It's also one of those champions that can go, when you're down on the 2v1, just change it to a 2v2, no problem. That's one of the things that really doesn't get talked about a lot about Shen. It's just more about the split pushing right now, but Shen is still very, very vital, versatile in that, you know, you can help out your teammates all together. It's just not talked about as much because of the cooldowns on Stand United. But really interesting to see the Shen picking up Ghost Exhaust. That kind of goes back into about Season 2, mid-season of 2, where Rayman actually started playing Shen when Shen was actually getting talked about being OP again. And he started out with this Ghost Exhaust kind of thing. He's still being that really tanky, really helpful kind of person during those team fights. So really good stuff coming out from Vibrating Staff, trying to pick out that stuff.
The Vibrating Staff picking up that stuff. Good snuff. I don't know. Yeah, but looking at this, I mean, it does look very, very much it will be a Fiddle in the middle. Fiddle against that Malzahar. And Fiddle really could shut down Malzahar, I think, pretty easily. Between the Fear, the Dark Wind, and the Drains, like, we don't have anything really to knock him out of that until that level 6 lockdown. But at the same time, Fiddle, you know, he's amazingly frail. Like, he's not really a beefy champion. He's literally sticks and bones. I mean, he's a scarecrow. He is nothing really that can take a huge amount of damage. So how is he going to be able to handle, you know, this nocturne pressure? How is he going to be able to handle the constant harassing from I don't actually remember the name. Yeah, I was going to say, I know it starts with an M, but that's about all I get. It's been so long since I've seen a Malzahar. The last time I saw a Malzahar was Dominion, and he was attack damage.
Oh, man. I'm about to say I don't actually remember the Q ability of Malzahar either, but yeah, that's going to be really... That middle matchup is actually going to be favoring Malzahar, I think, more over Call of the Void, going to use that silence to damage down onto Fiddle. And Fiddle's going to be pushed up to his turret most of the time if Malefic Visions is going to be online for most of the time over in that lane. So He-Man, the Kobold, the Mumu player, is going to be able to probably get some good ganks over mid if Chronic 420 Kings is going to be pushing up way too hard in there.
Well, we got about 45 seconds left to hear. Something we haven't looked at is the bottom lane. We got Grave against Caitlyn, but after the nerfs a little bit to that Sona, a Sona Caitlyn, I mean, that's an extremely long-ranged lane, but they also picked out a Soraka to kind of deal with that. So sitting, you know, kind of in the back, you know, Graves a little bit naturally tankier than other ADCs, and now he's going to have himself a spam bot in his corner. I don't really see a lot of threat perceived here by We Run This Ish.
One of the players from Quantic Gaming, Mr. Niantanso, he said in one time in the chat room I was just idling by, sustain beats poke, but sorry, sustain beats poke, and that's what kind of is that matchup right there. You have Graves and Soraka. That's just a total amount of sustain plus a little bit of burst because of Graves, but you have sustain. And then you have just total amount of poke with Sona and Caitlyn. Caitlyn and Sona won't be able to really do too much over that bottom lane unless they get a really good gank or if Graves gets out of position while Soraka's heals down. So that's probably the only way Caitlyn's going to win out. But again, Caitlyn isn't one of those champions that actually go for kills. They just farm out for days and then just go for Storm right into that mid-game session when you get that BT or IE and such like that. So I don't know. Those are really interesting picks, and I usually don't like pairing a Caitlyn with a Sona, especially if you do show that there is a Soraka up there.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, sustain will beat out poke because poke is going to be using all their mana, and at the same time, every time you take an opportunity to do some poke, you really have to time it out so you don't miss out on the last hits, and that's something that a lot of newer players, or at least players not nearly as experienced as the top tier, have trouble working out sometimes because they'll get into these massive poke wars and be like, yeah, that felt really good, but now you've lost 3-4 CS and you keep repeating that, and all of a sudden you're just nowhere near that Froggen level of creeps that ideally you want to be. So yeah, sustain. With Soraka, it's going to be very hard to kind of burst anyone down. We're going to have to see what kind of pressure we're going to see out of Nocturne. It is good to see, though, that we do have junglers on both sides of the teams this round.
Yeah, definitely. And Nocturne's going to be a really strong jungler. I would say there might be a little bit of pressure going up from Fatal Kings trying to go to that Moo because they have a decent chance to get some good level 1 advantage with that Undertow from Olaf. On top of that, just good damage output that Caitlyn and such can do. But yeah, I would say that you would want to just go on to rerun this ish.
My scoreboard is backwards.
Oh.
Oh well. How did it go backwards? All right. You just go away for this game. I'll deal with you later. And the teams. Actually, maybe I can just pause the game for me for a sec. At 37.
Okay.
This is really annoying. Because I tested this. Okay, so you can come back and. Sorry for this, ladies and gentlemen. Alienware. Red team name is totally not Fatal. Is it?
No, it's we run this ish.
Wow. Saved the files in the wrong friggin' order. Could not believe that.
It happens.
And bam. There we go. Good enough for now. Yep. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yep.
Alright, so we are into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Alienware Arena, North America, Week 1. Left-hand side, Team Fatal. Right-hand side, we run this ish. And yeah. It's kind of bleeding off into the red. Nothing I could do about it right now. Balls.
Anyway, yeah, I think red team's gonna probably just kind of secure this blue buff because that is very important for Mubu. And actually, Fatal Kings is not gonna go for a evade. They're gonna just defend over there. So very strong stuff from both teams. Really, just defend and protect what they really need to do. I'm pretty sure the Nocturne is going to be able to go into Mubu's jungle at certain points. If they get a hard leash onto that blue buff, that red buff is going to be in trouble, especially with that aggressive ward that Fatal Kings put by that little Wraith Rush for we run this ish. So very telling sign that Fatal Kings does want to get aggressive. They just don't want to get aggressive onto the team.
Okay, so nothing level 1. That's fine. Everything going to be just business as usual. Now, are we going to be starting off red with Nocturne? He is going to be starting off with these Wraiths. Actually, I thought Chronic 420 there actually took a Wraith by accident. And, this is also refreshing to see. Caitlyn going to be starting down here at the Golems. Not really too much health is taken out of that, but Chronic is going to be really late to his mid party at this rate.
Yeah, this is really interesting to see. I don't know, I don't totally agree with it, but Lazarel is going to go try to take this red, and he's going to need to smite it down. He's going to take a lot of damage also as well, because the Chronics did kind of, I guess, miss out onto leashing that hard. So unfortunately, we'll see what Nocturne can do, and we do know that Shen is over by that blue buff, or over by that red buff.
Yeah, so Shen's taking his time getting to the top. We had Chronic here just take his time to get to mid, But I mean, you got to be very curious. What is Olaf thinking at this point? It's like, where's my enemy? You know, maybe some kind of big jungle gank shenanigans. But either way, it just seemed like a little bit of a long, drawn-out leash on both sides this round.
Yeah, very interesting to see. The only thing that really helped went well for both teams really is that Fatal Kings got that double golems pretty easily. So Jasonville is going to be able to get level 2 way before what hit HID my NTS. I'm going to say that. NTS, I guess, is going to be able to just poke down right now onto that Sona.
NTS sounds fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
you got to do something to keep the flow of everything just going. Either way, yeah, nothing really too spectacular going on at this point, but Lazaro is doing a little bit of counter jungling. He is going to be just trailing this Amumu. Just missed him by mere seconds at that red. So Amumu now with the blue, with the red, has no more health potions, and is going to go back to town. But is Lazaro actually going to be able to find him out? Yes, he does see him, is going to be throwing down that interrupt. Here goes the fear. Blue and red just a little bit too important to lose, so we do have to force out that flash. But, you know, good initiative right there on a Nocturne to get in there for that counter jungle.
Only thing right now is Amumu is up at that level 3 status, so that's real. Just barely going to be at level 2, going to get to level 3 after blue buff. So he's going to be a little bit ahead in that point. But Amumu, yeah, without flash, he's going to be really not ganking within the next few levels. So probably going to be seeing that first Amumu gank unless the lane's really pushed at about level 6.
Now we do have a little bit of that advantage in the top lane. Level 4 got out here by Olaf just before Vibrating Staff, but I think it's kind of similar here in the mid. Mr. Knowles, level 4, and yeah, he's just slightly ahead in terms of experience between this Malzahar. But as you were talking about, you know, that Malefic Vision's jumping target to target is keeping Fiddlesticks right way there in the back, so not really a lot of pressure going on there. Malzahar actually doing really good in terms of the creeps, hitting about 24, whereas Fiddle is just kind of sitting at 13.
Yeah, Fiddle's just going to be way pushed up to the turret, and yes, this is kind of the point where Mumu needs to help out that Malzahar, or helps out that Fiddle. Unfortunately, Mumu did go top. Olaf had his lane pretty pushed out, but you know, Olaf didn't want to actually go anywhere else, so he just had to go back off. And this could be a good timing for Mumu to come in.
Yeah, well, he is going to actually make himself known, but no bandage toss really in range there. Actually, he did throw out the bandage toss, but did not hit. At the same time, bottom lane, Sona actually got caught out. We did notice a ward just showing that she was alone in the jungle. And you can see that she's really low hit points. Ours is going to get off the exhaust and the ignite, knowing that her flash was down, capitalizing upon that. And first blood going to go to We Run This Ish.
Dufresne, that trap going to be able to capture that kill. Jason Full is going to pick up one of those kills as well. So 1 for 1 on the trade. We do see Nocturne lurking right over here at bottom lane. So unfortunately, we're going to see probably Graves back up just a little bit because he does get seen by the ward. But I do see a Mumu coming in as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a fight going up top as well, just back and forth. But the true damage Viking, he can make it rain pain when he really wants to. But at the same time, looking at Shen, he still has boots and 3 potions, so he's not really feeling that pressured at all in this top lane yet.
Especially looking at the CS score, it's double right now of that Shen. So Shen's doing a really good job over that top lane. And that's kind of given, like the aggression or the Shen is actually going to be a little bit more safer onto his Saint just with 4 strikes.
We have 6 on Malzahar. He's going to come down here. He's going to find this Amumu. Is he actually going to be throwing down the suppress? He's going to put up the Malefic Visions. Oh, he doesn't have the mana.
Yeah, he was pretty low. If anything, he had to use his ultimate at the start, but no, we do see them come back into it. But both Fiddlesticks and Amumu don't have any mana, but we do see the rest going down. The Snow's going to get his stand united upon it. It's going to be saved out from Vibrating Staff, so great stuff from there. How by NTS is going to go right into there, but he's just going to back right out. So great response by Rerun This Ish, but really interesting kind of timings from what Malzahar could have done.
Oh, Graves, yeah. That's Hold My Nuts.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying not to say it, but there you go.
Oh, dude, I don't think you have to do that. Professional. Don't worry. Yeah, okay. Hold My Nuts, please. Thanks. Yep. We Run This Ish is holding nuts. Cool. There you go. So now I've said it all. It's all good. 1-1 though. I mean, that was, if Shen did not come down to there, I still don't think Fiddle would have died, but because we saw the Stand United and Graves came up to do that support, it did kind of encourage the disengage. But either way, 1 for 1, really the only kills are in that bot lane, and believe it or not, both AD carries in the bot lane actually picked up kills for themselves, so they're staying relatively even on the creeps, and they both have a kill under their belt.
The only thing right now is Caitlyn hasn't gone back to buy, so the BF sword on Graves is actually pretty pertinent. It's going to be hurting a lot more than what just Caitlyn didn't do right now, which we can see from all that poke or that damage right there.
Yeah, the extra first blood bonus and putting Graves ahead just that little bit extra, because we just hit the 1650 mark there for Caitlyn. So he is ahead by about 200, which is mostly just that first blood bonus. And there we go. Caitlyn finally going to go back to town. Will she pick up the corresponding, or is she just going to go more that safe? And it does look like she is going to go more that safe. The double Dorns into Berserkers, and that's pretty much majority of her cash. Yeah, it picks up a few potions to boot.
I'm kind of questioning that decision because you're going to have a lot of poke damage already with Graves, with that burst, with that buckshot on top of that, the attack speed steroid of his E quick draw, and then you have sustain with Dufresne. You need to actually match out that damage a little bit more than actually try to sustain more. But I mean, especially because you have Sona who can sustain as well. But unfortunately, we will see that double Dorans versus the BF Sword and now a Vampiric Scepter rushing towards that BT.
A great bandage in this top lane. Blue and red still on the little Yordle that could, as he actually does force out that flash from Johnny Richer. But now the cavalry is going to be coming in. Here goes that fear tether. Lazriel looking for it, but actually going to be dropping really low himself. The suppress from Malzahar, the killer of dreams. What is it? The Nether Grasp. Yeah, that actually just locked down that Shen, made sure that he could not use the Stand United, not that the cooldown was up anyways. But either way, I mean, that was a nice solidified 3-man gank, but we didn't have that 6 come out from Lazaro. He is now 6, or maybe he just didn't feel like it was worth using, but either way, he still has that ready to go for the next gank.
Yeah, I think he just got sick during that fight and could not use it. But the other thing was, that was a really interesting Malzahar just going right into that. I did not expect Malzahar to just go right up the top, and yeah, that was a really good gank and really good play by Fatal King, really rotating and helping out the teammates.
And that's how you start getting ahead these early games. If there's anything that we've seen in more of the foreign League of Legends, like the Asians, for example, it's just always rotating, always helping out each other. That's how you start getting these big advantages, and those big advantages are what you need to start snowballing into these games. So 2-1, we're only up about 300-400 gold at this point. In terms of the last hits, going back and forth, it's pretty even across the board. Graves, however, is sticking out as more of a leader in the spot lane rather than that Caitlyn, but I saw a little Amumu come in down there as well.
We're going to sneak right into Tony is not going to get ready for that. Buckshot actually missing online, but it is not going to happen. And Tony is just going to get dropped. Holman Nuts is going to try to do some more damage. He's going to back away. He's going to get healed up with that wish, and we do see Shen coming right back down. Lazaro is going to get away from this. Hopefully, no, he does get taunted, and it's going to be Graves who then pick up another kill. And we do see Vibrating Staff go right onto Jasonville. Jasonville is going to get dropped down really fast, unless he doesn't get his help from his team. This is going to be really interesting if Vibrating Staff can stay out alive long enough.
Oh, they're trying so hard. Is he going to be able to get out of this one? No. What a great little tower dance there coming out from Caitlyn. As I can understand how He-Man the Kobold, he had to just get out of there. He was tanking the tower. Caitlyn was focusing him down. But at the same time, yeah, they just kind of left Shen to it. And unfortunately, Shen just not nearly tanky enough yet. But notice how, what he has back at home now. He does have himself a large belt, that Giant's belt. 430 more health. Are we seeing more of a Sunfire, do you think, or Frozen Mallet?
It could be War Mods, could be anything like that sort, but it's just to counteract the tree damage that's coming up from Johnny Richter with that Olaf. One thing, if you play against Darius or anything that does true damage, you want to build up more health because that's going to mitigate a lot more of that damage, and so that's kind of how you kind of defend yourself from that. And on top of that, you get the Ninja Tabby. So the health belt is pretty much for both the Giant's belt, so that's just going to be building up probably I would say Frozen Mallet, maybe moreover, because you do have that Ghost and you do have that Exhaust with Shen. Don't know if that's going to be the same for Olaf. Olaf probably going to go to Warmogs or even to that Sunfire Cape Wrap.
Well, we have once again a Mumu just poking up top. I do think he did get noticed. We do got a ping going on up there, so he's just going to be, rotating back around. Now, I don't think I've seen Fiddlesticks with a blue yet. I think we've had both blues go off to a Mumu.
I'm believing so, because I do remember him having the blue for quite a bit during that bottom engagement. So, unfortunately for that, Lazriel is going to go in. Doesn't have his the ultimate right now, Paranoia, so he's just going to be backing away from it, just trying to show you, he's around, and he needs to put a little bit of pressure for that Graves, who is now 86 CS, 4-0 up. It's going to be pretty dirty for that Graves to get into this really good timing where he already has BT. He's going to get Phantom Dancer pretty soon as well.
Oh my goodness, I did not even notice that. All 4 kills on Hold My Nuts. 4-0-0 with a Bloodthirster and Boots at the 13-minute mark. That's even faster than the one we saw this morning on the EU side of things.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty strong and powerful onto this, and we do see Fiddlesticks probably going to get his blue, but it is going to be Lazriel going to be on the side.
What a great ward. That is exactly the reason why you ward out that blue as a jungler, because you can just smite it right across that wall. Really good job there from Nocturne, denying Fiddle that blue, but at the same time, I noticed that their blue is not up. It's not here on Malzahar. It doesn't seem to actually be up for anyone.
So it will probably be another minute.
They did that late, that's right.
Yeah. So we're going to probably see them take it pretty soon as well. I don't think Amumu has any time to actually countergress upon it, so he's just going to try to go around. Unfortunately for Fiddle, this is probably going to be hurting him just so much more. 71 CS compared to 88, but does have that Hextech Revolver, so he's going to be able to sustain just a little bit more. Do you see a lot of bit of poke over that bottom lane right now, though?
I'm a little curious as to a Hextech Revolver on a Fiddlesticks. Typically, he has some pretty hefty cooldowns on stuff, plus he already has himself a life drain. Is this just a response to the harass he's been taking from Malefic Visions? Because that's not a typical item, for, at least the first item, I want to say, for Fiddlesticks.
No, it's more like a 4th or 5th item that you want to build into. I guess you can get the Hex Revolvers to, yes, like you said, sustain over in that lane where, Malefic Visions has just been doing so much damage to the grass and all that other goodness from that Malzahar. Again, Malzahar not played so much, so it's hard to really cast it, but Call the Void, there you go. But, Fiddlesticks is going to be a little bit farther behind, and he needs to build something for some CDR, some mana regen as well, because he's not going to get any blues anytime soon.
I'm looking at Olaf now. Olaf actually just headed back to town. He went on a little bit of a shopping spree himself, and I'm looking at a possible Warmogs.
Yeah, because he's just going to be super tanky, and then once he gets to a certain point, there's no real disables for Olaf. There's no fears, no anything like that. So even when Ragnarok's on, you can just go right straight line, beeline to Hold My Nuts, and then try to just kill him, or even on to, I would say, Fiddlesticks, because Fiddlesticks is probably going to be an easier target. But other than that, he can just sustain out a lot of the damage that's coming right into from Graves, and technically maybe from Shen as well.
Yeah, there's the blue now going to Malzahar. So Chronic 420 Kings here in the mid, going to have a substantial advantage against our poor old little Fiddle right there for a little bit. Now we've only seen really one ultimate gank coming up from Nocturne, so at this point I kind of feel like we're a little bit overdue more for his nice big dash to make something happen. But like, where would it be? Bottom lane is kind of, it's not, I don't want to say it's losing, because really the lanes are kind of static down there, but if you look at the creeps, it's a really big difference in terms of how well that bottom lane is doing compared to each other.
We could have a pretty good opportunity right now to go at top, but He-Man the Cobalt did not want to commit with using the Curse of the Seven, especially because Ragnarok was just used. But middle lane, that'd probably be the only way, and you're going to have to dive into it because Fiddlesticks has been all the way at his turret pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, you would have to dive, and then of course you do have to deal with the silences and the fears. Although, if we do get off the fear tether first, combo that with the suppress, I mean, they could easily just burst him down. He has absolutely nothing in terms of health, armors, or anything, because he did go that Hex Tech first. I mean, that's just a little bit of sustain. I mean, look at him. He's pretty glass at this point. 60 armor, 40 magic resist. Like, that's screaming glass cannon to me.
Yeah, 1200 only on the health score as well, so not the greatest as well. Cry for Crowning Kings is going to go right again. Malefic Vision couldn't get the. He's going to get another rest on, and we do see the Wish going out. We're going to see the Stand United on that move, but that is probably not the target he wanted to keep.
Oh man, what a great turnaround. Hold My Nuts deciding he's just going to get right up into that, but if you lay enough summoner spells and ultimates on top of him, he does go down. We did have those Malefic Visions really doing some damage on top of He-Man the Kobold. Looks like he's going to be okay for now, though we do got those Ignites ticking down. Look at that, just 3 members of We Run This Ish, just so very low. Now they do have to deal with this vibrating staff, although it does look like he is going to give up, kind of just chasing this down. So the ultimate exchange out of all that, oh wow, what a beautiful what a beautiful tilt over right there. Well, that was 1 for 1, but now with that tilt over, 1 for 2, I don't think we're really in a position here to do a big kind of dive. Although, I mean, Johnny Richter is looking fairly healthy, 2,300 hit points. And he does still have his Ragnarok, his axes, everything ready to go. But instead of just trying that more risky route, we're just going to farm out this bottom, take this tower. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, that's probably the smartest one, but we do see Hold My Nuts trying to go for the kill on Jasonville because he was so low already, but they're going to see the back up. I would say the tower, probably a good idea, but they're probably going to go straight to Dragon with a Moo and Graves so they can take that down. So it'll be a fair trade. Overall, though, that was a great catch by Fatal Kings to get down to Graves and getting that gold bonus from that just because he did have 4-0 on his score.
Yeah, we're now 3-1-1 for Caitlyn, who actually, I think it was Sona that got the kill on top of Graves. So that's a big boost to your support. And you can see now she has the double gold pretend. She already has that health crystal ready for the Shurelya's. 3 wards to boot. If you compare her right now compared to Soraka, who's 0-1-5, I mean, yep, good. She's been part of all 5 kills. Thank you, Wish, and thank you for the fact that most of them have been in that bottom lane. You know, she does have some gold. She does have the double gold pretend, but it's a pretty clear difference as to the support status just with that 1 kill.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost 1,000-ish up, so using the name Rerun This Ish.
1,500 up, actually. Look at that.
Yeah, so it's really, really good stuff coming out from Sona. Sona will be probably a little bit more ahead per se going on to this, but I mean, this is a Season 1 matchup literally of supports. You have Soraka, you have Sona. You usually play it out almost all the time, and technically the late game goes to Soraka just because of that Wish utility and the healing utility is just so much stronger. The thing is, with the longer CDs for Soraka, we'll see if that actually affects the late game status of the team fights.
So we got a mana crystal now on our Fiddlesticks, and our Fiddlesticks has been fairly passive this entire game. He's sitting at 0-0-0. You don't really see that too often 20 minutes into a game, having a score of the triple snake eyes, but you know, hey, that's how he's been so far. He hasn't died, but he hasn't really contributed too much, only about 102 creeps to his name, but still, I gotta be very questioning of his build.
We do see engage over here. Lazaril going to go around to Mumu. We do see the kill onto Jasonville with that the Fiddlesticks, and we do see Tony Light just going to be backing away. He-Man the Cold Ball is going to be picked up from Jasonville, and you're going to see the aggression. All My Nuts is going to go get Stand United upon, and we do see the counterattack. Shadow Dash going on. Lazaril going to be the target, but Lazaril going to use that Speaker of Horror to get away from it. Very step is going straight up, and now the counter aggression with Johnny Richter coming right into this. So you see the Undertow not going to hit online, but it was Caitlyn going to be picking up with the ace in the hall. Could be an ace coming up. Dufresne is pretty much dead and gone. If that silence is going to be saving him, I don't know. Oh, the Undertaker going to move this offline. Don't think that
he ran away.
Going to pick out. Yeah.
Oh, wow. 20 hit points. That's the difference between life and death right there. 25 hit points.
It's unfortunate for Johnny Richter to kind of back away from that, but again, he did a pretty decent job. Could have got that ace, kind of unofficial ace, but ace onto there, but it's all for naught. But we do see Dragon going to Rian-ish, but for 4 kills, I'll take the 4 kills any day.
Yeah, 4 kills for a Dragon. I mean, that affords you a lot of time to just kind of go romp around in the jungles, go pick up other objectives, have a nice shopping spree, and get back to lane before you miss out anything. At the same time, I mean, look at Jason full down here. Just take this opportunity. He's life-stealing back up, so he's not only pushing the lane, he's also shoving it right into that tower, hopefully, you know, just trying to deny that CS and tower damage. So, I mean, we're going to be able to come back to that a little bit later on. It's under half. Really good job overall from Fatal Kings in that last round. Now, something I wanted to bring up, or I was trying to bring up with the Fiddlesticks, is that with that Mana Crystal, I was curious to see if he was going to go into a Rod of Ages, because I mean, we're already at 21 minutes into the game. He does have a catalyst now, though. That extra assist from the last fight was able to put him just over that mark for gold. But, you know, like at this rate, we're going to hit, what, a 24, 25, 26-minute Rod of Ages? I mean, by then, I mean, the game could also, you know, be over by then.
Yeah, especially with the aggression that's showing up with Fatal Kings right now. They're going to be able to take out this middle turret unless Vibrating Staff has something to say about it. But Johnny Victor is super tanky. He doesn't really care about that. Mr. Nose is not going to be able to do anything because it doesn't have any damage as well. So unfortunate for this team right now. We'll see the Crow Storm come right in.
Yep, Crow Storm, but once again, as you said, you know, Johnny Richard does not care. There goes that Ragnarok, gets him out of that sticky situation. Down goes the turret, which means that the safety blanket here for Rerun This Ish is just not there, and overall, it just seemed very underwhelming. That entire performance coming out from Rerun This Ish. Under tower, they engaged with a Crow Storm with 3 full members of their team there, and looking at the health bars, like, it almost looks like it didn't even dent Fatal Kings.
No, it did not, and unfortunately, you know, this was all because, you know, Mumu pushed up with Graves over at bottom lane just to push down that tower. But a second tier tower compared to a first tier tower, that's definitely a trait that's going to be in favor of Fatal Kings, especially because they can do a lot right now. They have so much control. They don't have any vision pretty much for Rerun This Ish. Literally, if you see where Baron is, there's no vision for Rerun This Ish over there. So this is going to be really a dangerous time for Rerun This Ish, and Fatal Kings has so much momentum going for them that they could either go for the win and just push all the way in, or they could go and try to go for this Baron.
Yeah, I took a look at the map coverage, and we got 1 ward right now on Soraka, who's sitting now at 016. Still the tier 1 boots, has a little bit of extra armor, and 800 gold to her name, but we're going to need to start spreading out this map awareness just so that we can start trying to make some of these plays happen. For example, right now, you know, these objectives are kind of crucial. The reds, the blues, the dragons. We Run This Ish really needs to kind of take control of those, and the only real way to keep on top of those kind of things is wards, and that is sadly something that we're just not seeing. Like, look at the map vision right now on Fatal Kings. You know, we got that trifecta of wards just above the river, and then we got one here as well by the jungle, by the blue, and I think Tony Lai is going to be throwing down yet another one. So, you know, it's just a massive difference in terms of visibility.
I mean, the aggressive warding is really important, especially when you don't have vision all around, when the towers are down, of course. So using Tony Lai's wards, like literally, those are the points you want to contest and kind of get into it. And we'll see if they are going to be able to poke down onto the team of Rerun This Ish.
So Lazrio going to be engaging Vibrating Staff in this bot lane. You know, we do have that Sunfire Cape and what looks to be maybe a Guardian Angel in the works here for the Vibrating Staff. But him versus Lazrio, not really a super exciting lane. They're just going to go back and forth. Malzahari is going to be making his way down there, where it is going to be Jason Full and Tony in the mid just trying to put out that pressure. So Staff thinks maybe he got something here, is not going to be able to break off that fear tether, but he has popped Ghost. He still has Stand United to get out of a sticky situation, but, you know, I don't know. Again, it just seems underwhelming.
And you can see Vibrating Staff going straight through, Shadow dashing down, but you see this Nethergrass on top of that. The damage coming out onto Vibrating Staff going to be taken out super easily. Human the Cobalt is going to fall right next to the Nethergrass. Great job by the Malzahar. We do see the Great is going to pick up the Nocturne, but unfortunately, triple kill going to Chronic 420 Kings. Good job by him getting that pull down. On top of that, just putting so much damage from all the DPS abilities that Malzahar did.
I gotta say, Shen kind of baited his team into that. Like, just use Stand United. There was no stuns there whatsoever. He had a good amount of distance there, you know, generated by his Ghost. Just use Stand United to get out of it. But I really do feel like he baited his team into that fight, and not in the good way.
It's unfortunate too because of this. Shadow Dash actually hit down onto both Malzahar and not Malzahar, but Sona and Caitlyn. And like this was the time and supposed time to actually engage upon it. Unfortunately for not, I don't think that was the smartest idea, especially because they don't have the damage output. I mean, they do have damage output with Graves, but that's the only person that has damage.
He's the only person with kills and items. I mean, look at Nose. Mr. Knowles just going in here with that Crow Storm, and hit point bars just don't move. I mean, Tony doesn't lie. He's kind of glass at this point, but he does have that Aegis ready to go, and it's pretty much the only thing between him and spamming these spells, just keeping him alive. We're looking for that kill on top of Sona, but we're also trying to just make sure that we can juke out, stay alive as long as possible, and an excellent job indeed, able to trade it out very easily, but still, I mean, that was a 1-for-1 exchange right there after the Crow Storm used for initiation.
Yeah, there's a lot just used onto the Sona, especially with him and the Kobold. Yeah, just getting in there, using so much visibility. I think he burned the flash just to try to get up to Sona even more so. I guess that was a good kill to actually get into there, and especially if they're gonna get Dragon, they get a little bit more goldage, but I don't know, there isn't really a time and place to really catch up right now for the team of Rerun This Ish.
I mean, so we traded out the Amumu for the Sona. Sona now sitting at 5 deaths, Amumu sitting at 4. So it's pretty clear, you know, who actually got more out of that, simply because Sona has died more, she's worth less. And they did blow just so much to make it happen. At the same time, yeah, sure, they got themselves Dragon, but, you know, Fatal Kings haven't been standing still either. A lot of shopping sprees going down. Nocturne picked up that red. I think we had a visit off to the blue, but no, the blue's still there. So we're waiting for Chronic 420 Kings, but they could have also like made a big play here to the Baron, and We Run This Age wouldn't even known about it. Like, I'm looking at Tony. Tony is immediately after that fight rewarding everything. We have 0 wards even in any of the inventories here for Rerun This Age.
Yeah, different to pick up the Aegis instead, and that's only going to be a problem because there is no wards coming up. Thornmail being picked up by Vibrating Staff. Really interesting to see that, because yeah, there is a bit of AD damage coming out from all the players, but Malzahar right now 406 actually is doing about the same amount of damage as Caitlyn right now too, or a little bit more per se because it's AP, and it's like yeah, we should be probably guarding against that too, so that's why he picks up the Negatron Cloak. But yeah, it's just like you can't really just focus on one thing, you have to kind of just get everything together, and hopefully they can catch something, because Tony doesn't lie, did get pinged off right now. We'll see if that's the case, or they're going to try to go for this Caitlyn.
Well, do they even know Caitlyn's there? I mean, after that Piltover, obviously you will, but now we're just kind of putting wards on top of wards. So, I mean, it's good that we're seeing at least one ward out there. Looks like Fiddlesticks actually has taken over the ward situation here for We Run This Ish. And the AP mid taking over the ward situation from the support, that's a dire strait. That's a very telling tale of how the gold is flowing here.
Yeah, it's just very unfortunate, and we do see him and the Cobalt actually could have got caught down with another grass. He did not want to go upon that, which going out and the heal going down for him and the Cobalt, and he's going to be able to be safe. But that's the ult of Soraka down, and that is definitely an ult that you don't want down during a team, before a team fight.
God, she used it to heal one person. Wasn't even a clutch moment either. It was just to heal the one person. This is a big opportunity right now for Fatal Kings to come in here, because yeah, that wish is down. Soraka's global heal will not screw you up in this next team fight. So top lane, Caitlyn able to take it down, and we're having more split pushing coming out for Fatal Kings that we already run the siege, even though they have that Shen ready to go for this. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think that was the best idea of that 4-1 split, but definitely a great job by Caitlyn picking up that one over there. And now We Run This Ish is now just super far behind with Vision. I mean, they do have wards coming out, but they can't even get out of their base, truthfully. And especially with the inhibitor down over the middle. It's going to be pushing. So this is actually a perfect time. I mean, the Fatal Kings definitely don't need Baron to win out of this game. They could just take a free Baron, just get some more gold, and then get some more damage as well.
Yeah, that's always one of the terrible things about losing your inhibitor. You're kind of attached to the hip to that lane, because if you're not there to kind of babysit it and nurture it, it's going to get overrun by big bad meanies, big bad purple sweetnesses.
Or blue in that case.
Or blue sweetnesses, yeah. If anyone has not watched the IPL video of that, go watch it. You'll understand. Because he's a thug.
Oh, it's like the minion kind of talk or something.
Life of a minion. Oh, this could be really good. Jason Full going for those wraiths, but getting just absolutely shut down right there from the Graves. That was a really good pickup. And what I was a little confused about there is we had the Shen stand united.
I was about to say the same thing. Yeah, I don't understand why that was there. I guess it's because they didn't have vision per se, so they thought that was going to be engaged. But but the Caitlyn being by herself or literally over in that area, that's not a bait. That's usually just him or just somebody getting out of position. When you say ADC actually out in the open, that's usually just out of position ADC that you can just take for free.
Yeah, you never really bait with an ADC simply because it's extremely hard to sometimes get away. You know, some mass CC, doesn't matter if you have flash. If you're stunned, you're not going to flash anyway. If you're silenced or rooted, you're not going to flash anyway. So I think what we're seeing here from Rerun This Ish, you know, trying to do this Baron while they have that chance, it's the only thing they can really do. And look at that. I mean, we're even going to be forcing out a whole bunch of flashes out of this. We're only using 2 to 3 team members here to keep people at bay. The Baron is still dropping 800. Red team will grab it with the smite, and that's going to be just empowering them here. And this could be a big turnaround for them. Down goes the Sad Mummy. Caitlyn, however, is back in town. She's already thrown down the ace and did not even get the kill for it. And maybe I'm going to be eating my words here because Caitlyn is back. We cannot even take down Johnny Richer whatsoever. Vibrating Staff coming back in just to seemingly lose his life. Can he escape from this empowered Caitlyn? Because she is definitely on the run. But they got Baron, and I think, you know, that still overall was the right play to do. But it's just really hard to win against this Fatal team.
Oh, we do see Helmet Nuts going to pick up on there. Jason Phil is going to get collateral damage upon him. We do see the stop of the damage polarity. Chronic Kings is now going to go try to help out and aid Caitlyn, and they're just going to back away from this. I feel like Jason Phil probably could have gone and killed Vibrating Staff still, and Vibrating Staff would have gone down, but they didn't want to actually go engage upon it. Great job by everyone this ish, truthfully, to get that Baron, but Fatal Kings probably should have made them pay a little bit more than what they did. I mean, it's still a trade-off in kills, so good job on that, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more with that.
But I think that was the first team fight they've actually really traded off evenly. And, you know, with the Baron belt, with the Baron gold under their belt, I mean, it's really not that different in terms of the gold. The problem is just the allocations of the gold is very different between the two teams. 8-3-3 Graves, whereas we have a 6-2 Caitlyn and a 6-0, still a 0 on the Malzahar.
I mean, Malzahar has just been pushing out the lane, and that's pretty much what he did. He just pushed that lane, got some good stuff, and then he got a little bit of ganking on, but he didn't have any kills from that. He's just been doing a lot of damage just because he just built built gold passively. That's pretty much just one of the things that Malzahar can do. Although he isn't the greatest of late game champions, especially when you can get QSS and stuff like that, he's still a really good damaging early game to mid game, like just stronghold. So, you know, you have to really watch out for that, and we're going to see if Chronic Kings can go onto this and Moo being caught out right now.
Yeah, we're just preemptively throwing down the Vision denied so that everyone just kind of runs around in a mad panic. But He-Man the Kobold has pretty much no chance of getting out of this one. But there goes the Wish and the Stand United. They're really making a really hard time to kill him. And oh my god, did he have a Guardian Angel? He did have a Guardian Angel, so that's now popped. In goes this Crowstorm yet again. Actually going to be catching out Chronic in the actual Crowstorm, and that's going to lead into the collateral damage for the kill on that Graves. So, you know, again, that was not nearly as bad as it could have been. I did not actually even see that Guardian Angel. I guess that's the reason that we just wanted to pop it in that non-essential team fight. But the Wish going down, the Stand United, they kept him alive long enough to get that backup going. And they actually come ahead in that one.
This is actually becoming a really dangerous time for Fatal Kings because they can possibly throw it. Right there, you burn pretty much 3 to 4 abilities, 3 ultimates, just to try to gate down an Mumu who isn't really doing the best. 156. I mean, yeah, it does have GA, but doesn't really have anything else. Should have just held on and just like let it go a little bit more. Even though the kill, I mean, the GA proc was pretty good, but I don't think that was smartest of ideas. And we'll see what Fatal Kings thinks about when their next engagement comes in play.
16-12, still the gold basically, you know, under 2,000 still separates these two teams. And I gotta say, you know, we're starting to see some nice 4 or 5 item builds coming out. Oh yeah, 4 to 5 items at the very minimum. I mean, like, let's look at Shen, for example. I mean, Shen early on got himself the cape, now he has the Thornmail, and now on top of that as well, he has himself the Force of Nature. There's not really a ton of magic damage coming out of this team, but the Force of Nature, I mean, it's great health regen, it's great movement speed, all things that a tank needs, and at the same time, you know, Malzahar not going to be nearly as much of a problem. The answer to that, however, has been this Olaf, 203, has himself that Glacial, and as well as that Warmog, so 2 very different methods of tanking here that has emerged from both of our top laners.
I would like to see Malzahar probably pick up the DFG, even though it's nerfed right now. DFG would do wonders against this Shen, where you see Shens do this before. It's a really, really awesome build to actually go straight up tank, because literally Shen does so much more as a tank than what he is with a little bit of damage, a little bit of sparkness with Ion Spark and all that goodness. But Yeah, I like what Chen's building into. Although the Thornmail is a little bit questionable, I think a GA would probably be a little bit better in my preference. But yeah, like I'm liking the builds that are coming out from Rerun This Ish. And technically, the only thing they really do is protect his Graves so that he can do the most amount of DPS that he can just to kill onto literally all the people. If they do burn out so many more CDs of ultimates for Fatal Kings onto a Mumu again, or even onto Shen, it's just going to look really bad, and Rerun This Ish could take this game pretty easily.
Trying to remember, how long did Baron die ago? I can't imagine that his spawn is longer than 2 minutes at this point. It should be sometime in the next 2 minutes. Nobody has the Baron buff left, and it's
38:57 on the timer, I think, because 31:57 is the last time Baron was taken down.
There you go. So 38:57 is, yeah, minute and 40 seconds. So I said under 2. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting thing because I think Blue Team didn't actually time that, and that's why they saw that Baron kind of group up, and especially because, you know, people lost their Barons already too. So I think it's one of those things when you're in a battleground, like I was last season for Alienware as well. Like, you have to get those timings down and stuff like that too. Just have that little bit of edge onto your opponents. And so having a little bit of like, oh, well, chat says this, and then we can do that. Like, it's just a little bit of more work per se, just to time down stuff, but it'll help you out in the long run, communicating and such like that. So we'll see what Blue Team will do / Fatal Kings onto this. They're just kind of passively waiting, and that is technically not the thing you want to do against the team that has a Shen, that has a Fiddlesticks, and those two need to get, well, they're caught up already, and they're going to get really, really strong soon.
Another thing I want to point out is 2,000 gold difference between the two AD carries. I mean, look at both of them. They have both very similar items, but Graves is still 1 item up with that Guardian Angel. That's also something very scary. I mean, yeah, we did have a really nice kill lead, really nice, you know, almost what felt like a map advantage at some point here for Fatal Kings, but Rerun This Ish, they have really caught up, as you said. I'm looking at Graves, and their Graves is going to be the saving point here because he's just so far ahead in terms of just the cash flow. Almost 300 creeps here, 9 kills, and he's at about 2,000 gold ahead of his opponent. That by itself makes him a very valuable asset, and the team around him is only getting stronger as time goes on.
Yeah, and this is actually the danger point for Fatal Kings. They probably needed to take this game a little bit earlier, just because, again, mid-game of Caitlyn, really strong. Late game of Caitlyn kind of falls off. Mid-game of Malzahar, really strong. Late game of Malzahar definitely falls off, and that is just 2 things that you don't want to happen. On top of that, they still have Mumu to deal with, and Mumu is just super tanky now, and you can't really say, oh, we'll just ignore Mumu and go right into the team, when Mumu is just going to use Curse to Stab Mummy and just stop you in your tracks. So that's a really good standoff for Rerun This Ish, but it's a really unfortunate timing for Fatal Kings like now, because they can't really do too much other than Johnny Richter. Like, Ragnarok is going to be the saving grace for that team per se. If they can get into them, they can actually get some kills, but it's going to be a really long shot per se for Fatal Kings.
I like how we have a Thornmail developed on Johnny Richter just for that Graves. So both of our tanks in this game, not often you see double Thornmail. I mean, double or triple Guardian Angel, sure. Warmogs, sure, but Thornmail is, interesting. Yeah, 40 minutes in, 16-12, so we've had 28 kills on the board between the two teams, and once again, like 400 gold difference between the two of these teams. Baron is up. Neither team has it warded out. In fact, the number of wards keeps dwindling a little bit as time goes on. Even though at some point we had Fatal King, every team member on Fatal King had wards. Now it's a very, very different situation. So it does look like Fatal King is going to be starting this one up. Can they take it down before Rerun This Ish even notices, or are we going to get ourselves a good steal? Are we going to have a little bit of, you know, bollock shown here? But oh, so close with that collateral, but no cigar.
That was a really interesting smite over, and great job by Lazarel, still, you know, just defending off. Unfortunate for not, Mumu was over that mid lane and just got caught out of position, and that was just a great timing to pick up that Baron really easily. And now with this extra damage, are they going to be able to actually push down and go for the win?
Well, with a Baron and a little bit of a kill lead, they have to be feeling really confident. Johnny Richter still has not died, and he is pretty developed now just to go in there and be that anti-Graves. If you take out Graves out of the equation, it almost feels like Rerun This Ish is just going to collapse. And Johnny Richter, I think, is in a good position to help make that dream more of a reality.
Yeah, and especially with Malzahar, with the Chronic 420 doing a lot of damage as well, with the Void stuff on top, he's going to be able to diminish a lot of the damage coming out, but we do see engaged by Vibrating Staff.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates going to be going down here right in front of this tower. The Crowstorm doing a really good job into that sad mummy, but it will be Graves actually picking up that kill. Caitlyn is now down, so without the enemy ADC, oh, what a great bandage toss there from Amumu, able to take down Malzahar. And now, as you said, you know, this late game, people are starting to fall off. Graves with the superior positioning in the back. We got Vibrating Staff still chasing people down. We're already down the ADC and Malzahar, the AP mid from Fatal King. So your two top earners are out of the picture here, and they didn't even take anyone to the grave with them. This could be a resurgence of Rerun This Ish.
Vibrating Staff going in or onto Johnny Richter. Johnny Richter going to be procking down that random and just going to be backing off for the team.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares about that pretty much. But yeah, I mean, this Rerun This Ish's time. They're going to be able to push down the middle. They're going to probably trade off on at least the inhibitor turret. I don't think they're going to be able to pick up the inhibitor itself, just because, of course, Fiddlesticks over at bottom as well. It's not going to have enough damage per se, but they could go for it. I don't think it's probably the smartest idea, especially with Zona's all about to come back up.
Yeah, if they do get a really bad position, Crescendo could be the end of the push, but it does look like they're not really that interested in going off. That was a great taunt, actually, I thought. Really stopped that fear tether going off, and now we do have that shortlist. So yeah, they are going to be getting out of town, but once again, you know, Hold My Nuts in the back, able to just put down so much damage into the team fight that they were able to go ahead and trade out 2-0 and 2 towers, I think was the trade-off for that. Fiddlesticks defended bottom. We almost have that. We should almost have that inhibitor back up by now. Oh no, actually, it just went back down again, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I'll check it over a little bit, but yeah, for sure, we're gonna see Rerun This Ish probably pushing a little bit more. And the biggest thing about Rerun This Ish comp is that Mumu player. Even though he was 156 at one point and such like that, especially with that GA, he is pretty much unattainable and unkillable at this point. And when you waste so much on a Mumu, you can't do anything to the Graves, who's 10-3-4. So great job by Mumu to kind of stick in there, even though having a pretty bad time in the jungle. Still really working out as a really good champion and a really good player as well.
44-23 into the game, 16-14 as the score, and once again, you know, that 16 did not move in that last team fight. So Baron went down around, I think, the 42-minute mark or so. So we should see the next one before the 50. So what are we gonna do? What is We Run This Ish? What is Fatal Kings? What do they want to do in the meantime? Because they're kind of in a weird situation where they're not winning these team fights, yet by all accounts they should be pushing these lanes in pretty hard.
Fatal Kings just needs to take down Graves. If they can take down Graves before anything happens, they'll win this game literally easily for the team. But if Rerun This Ish just keeps on grouping as a team and just getting the Graves even fed, slash getting everybody else getting some items as well. Like Soraka just barely got Boots 2 right now. Like, yeah, this is just not. This is not probably the strongest of teams to not group up on. So you want to stay group and you want to stay and protect as much as you can. They definitely don't want any of these turrets to go down, the top or bottom inhibitor as well.
I find it interesting that we have an Elisa's Miracle. That is really not an item you see at all in League of Legends. I mean, yeah, sure, the tenacity is great. If you don't go for those Merc Shreds, it's one of those few items that will grant it. But why is she going for tenacity in this?
It's just to kind of knock down from the Sona ult, I guess, to get more heals, or possibly the Q silence from Call of the Void. Is that what it is? I think. Yeah, from Malzahar. So Call of the Void. Sorry about that. So that's pretty much it. But yeah, again, probably Shirley's would have been a little bit better of a choice. But we do have that on Mumu, so not really doubting that Listen to Miracle. I pick up a lot for my top laner usually, not really for the bottom lane though.
It's just never an item I've ever really seen. Like every now and then, here and there, but I don't know. You see something new every day, I suppose, and everyone plays a little bit different. So we see Fatal Kings realizing that the longer that this game goes on, really the worse it is in their favor, and they're kind of pushing all 3 lanes. Look at that. Bottom lane actually now going to be out. They're still pushing down this top 2-1 against He-Man the Kobold. Middle inhibitor is back up, so we're trying to just chip away at all angles, trying to spread out. We run this ish, and it's kind of working. I mean, we're still chipping away here at this bottom. Caitlyn actually is not going to stick around because that is a really bad situation. Talking about that bad situation, look at that. The Guardian Angel will be procced out. That fear just so OP for Mr. Knowles, but it will not be enough. Down she goes. And this is going to be prompting out a fight. Fiddles finally has that Zonia, has used it to really good effect. And a Sad Mummy going to be going out as well. The Crescendo not really doing too much, but Graves with the double, with the triple. We got the Stand United coming out here. This is Cobalt. That should be the end of Tony Lai. Doesn't lie. Lots of flashes going off. There's the Shadow Taunt. We don't have a Graves. He's actually gone back to town, I guess, to defend the inhibitor. But this should be the end of Asona. It's really kind of hard to catch Asona when she doesn't really want to get caught. But game over, man. Game over. She does go down. And the only surviving team member of Fatal Kings there is going to be Lazriel.
And Nocturne did get out of dodge really quickly from Graves. The Graves cannot go for that kill. But the biggest thing is, no one's up literally for the next 20 to 30 seconds. So this is going to be a great time, and you already see it. And when we're going down right straight, you're going to wait for Graves just a little bit. Going to spite a minion just in case he can. And he's going to go straight up and tank this middle inhibitor turret.
Wow, that Baron actually might have went down closer to the 40-minute mark. Jeez, my cat's trying to climb my chair. I was like, what the hell is that noise? Because Baron's back up. 48 minutes, a little bit earlier than I expected. Could be an objective. I'm actually looking. Is Vibrating Staff soloing it?
He has so much tankiness. I mean, especially with the Sunfire Cape on top of that, Random Winds on top of that Thornmail. And then he does have Magic Resist as well. So it's like, yeah, I can take this pretty much for days. Really interested to see he didn't sell out his Ninja Tappy for Mercury Treads, because that's usually a thing you need to transition to if you don't have a Listed Vehicle or anything like that sort.
Yeah, so here comes the enemy team looking for it, but now Baron is solidly in the pocket of rerun this ish. This is actually the second Baron that they've had, but I gotta say that their momentum going into this late game is just pretty immense. If they can take a few kills here, it could actually signal the end of the game.
Yeah, if they can pick up Caitlyn or if they can pick up Malzor, it'll pretty much be the end of the game for Fatal King. So rerun this ish, not going to be pushing up as much as it can. Very good stuff over there, but I think pretty much this was all predicated because of that first Baron. Although it wasn't really the greatest of trade per se, they did trade off a little bit of kills. They got that gold and that momentum, even more so for the Fiddlesticks, and on top of that, the Mumu, who did pick up the GA right after the first Baron. So I think that was kind of the point where this game really turned. Other than, yeah, they were stuck at the inhibitor turrets and they couldn't really do anything else for Fatal King to actually push in. Rerun this ish made that really good play over the Baron and made sure that they might be able to take this one. They could still lose it away because, yeah, anything could happen literally, but it's really looking unlikely for Fatal Kings.
Fatal Kings still at that 16 kill mark, has not gotten a kill in the last 2, if not 3 team fights. And now for the first time this game, we actually have a kill lead developed here for rerun this ish. And look at the gold, Bird. You know, for a game that was so close up until about the 45-minute mark, we have really accelerated here with the gold gain here for rerun this ish. And I gotta say that Graves is gonna be hitting that 400 creep mark, and he's sitting at 20,000 gold earned, a clear 5,000 higher than this Sona. It's quite remarkable.
We do see an engage right over here quickly. We did have the drain on Tony, doesn't lie, but Mr. Nils is going to be taken out super fast. Oh no, this might be the turn right now for Fatal Kings. Fatal Kings is going to try to catch on to Hold My Nuts. Hold My Nuts is going to get aggressive on. Do you see the heal coming out and the wish coming out? Hold My Nuts is going to go get proc down off of that GA, and that is going to be down for that little second. We're going to see if we can go ahead and save that Graves, but save Graves is not going to happen because then Olaf's going to be able to take that kill. and we're going to see if the backup is going to be enough for the team. I'll rerun this ish.
Operations Hold My Nuts. It was a failure. Yeah, terrible positioning right there. But you know, this had to be do or die. Fatal Kings had to take him out because they just did not stand a chance otherwise. And something to note, we have 4 Guardian Angels in this game. We've already popped 2 of them. Caitlyn, I still don't think has hers up. Nope, it is down, and this is a huge advantage going into this next push into this base. I don't think there's really any way that Vibrating Staff can hold off what seems to be this avalanche of Fatal King. Actually, he's not even bothering.
Yeah, I don't think that was the smartest idea, but then again, I don't think it really would have mattered. Unfortunately for not, with that mouse, or the catch on the Malzar with that Fiddle, just kind of trying to kill the Sona, it really let that snowball to Fatal King.
He's going back to town. Why is he going back to town? Like, no. Just should have kept split pushing. Down goes that, yeah, down goes the team, down goes the Nexus, down goes the Fiddlesticks. I don't know. That last team fight was a little silly in my eyes, but as soon as they caught out, we only had 4 deaths. 52 minutes, 4 deaths for that Graves, but as soon as he gets caught out, it's just it's done. That Guardian Angel meant absolutely nothing that round.
Yeah, I can't really say too much about it. It's just unfortunate timing. It was actually, Fiddlesticks getting caught out as well at the start, and then Graves coming off from the side where the 3 members of Fatal Kings are right over there as well. Man, that's just tough to bear witness to for Rion's position. Although, this is just, the Battlegrounds and, the season weekly and stuff like that. This is a painful loss, but it'll maybe get them better for the later runs. But definitely, Fatal Kings, you held out there and you caught the opportunity, and you caught it well to get that win.
52-minute game, pretty close all the way up until about the 40-45 minute mark. Then we saw this big resurgence here from Rerun This Ish as their team comp started to beat out Fatal Kings, but then just as soon as you get that bad positioning, one team fight that late into the game, and it could just be disastrous. So I gotta say, good game, well played to both teams. It was an absolute pleasure to watch. And 14-4 Graves, the only time he actually used that Guardian Angel was at the end, and it did not make a lick of difference.
I mean, it's unfortunate for Graves to get caught out, and yeah, we knew from the start when Graves was 4-0 and the rest of the team didn't have any kills that Graves was going to be the focal point. So once Fatal Kings did take that down, it was pretty much all for naught. And Rerun This Ish definitely gonna have some talking to do. I think overall, in general, though, they'll be really, really strong as well in the game because they came back from pretty much a really far deficit in that top lane, in the mid lane, and even in the jungle, and did pretty well once it hit that first Baron.
Well, good game, well played, guys. That's it for the Alienware North American Week 1. Now, if you guys know any other of the Alienware teams out there and they played their matches, make sure that they send me the spectator replays. They can find me on the Alienware site, and we can get that up there as well. But until then, Mr. Bird, thank you so much for your pleasant company today. Where can people find you out there in the world?
You can go check me out on twitter.com/L3IRD or on Facebook, facebook.com/L3IRD Gaming. Also, as well, I do run a little Day9-esque show called Learning in League over on Defending the Esports web. Go check out the timings for that show, d-esports.com.
I've been the FourCourtJester here, guys. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Bird, again, thank you so much for your time today, and guys, enjoy yourself. League of Legends will be back next week, Thursday, 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern. Now we'll do an announcement about that for the Alienware Week 2 EU, and about 9 p.m. For the NA. So guys, mark your calendars. Come on back. I'm sure that I can probably entice Bird to do it once more. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Definitely, and yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Yep, take care. I say that, but there.